Coverage of the 2015 U.S. Youth Soccer 2015 Region 2 Championships brought to you by the Turbo Sports Group, Capri Sun, Kohl's, Liberty Mutual, Mango.org, Nestle, Nike, Olive Garden, Sports Authority, and Wilson. All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the USA Youth Sports Complex here in Appleton, Wisconsin. This is the Region 2 Championship of the U18 Boys Division. Justin Barrientos along with you here on the Turbo Sports Group Network as we have the Kansas Rush Academy Blue taking on the Chicago Fire Raiders Elite here in the championship game, and we are already underway in this contest. Chicago Fire Raiders wearing the red jerseys with red shorts. Kansas Rush Academy Blue, obviously, with the blue shirts and blue shorts. Kansas Rush has been outscoring their opponents at a pretty good clip in the first 4 games of this tournament, outscoring their opponents 15-5. Chicago Fire with an 11-5 edge on their opponents. In the first 4 games of this tournament, they are 3-0-1 in this tournament, while Kansas Rush is 4-0 heading into this game. Chicago Fire. Raiders try to turn it upfield. Goalkeeper for Kansas Rush is number 56, Sam Glass. For the Chicago Fire Raiders, it's Trulio. And both keepers have given goals in the 4 games of this tournament. For today, head referee is Zach Marzelli. AR1 is Rachel Schockenmeyer, Victoria Spiegel. And our 4th official today is Kyle Armstrong. That one played back to Glass, the goalkeeper for Kansas Rush. That'll go towards midfield, looking for Blake Goodale. Chicago Fire Raiders trying to turn the ball upfield, and it's taken away by the defense of the Rush. That was Jacob Schreeman, the defender, taking that away. Schreeman will get it back. Then looking out over to Varela, Anthony Varela. Ethan Bowman will to Cole Nelson. Leading scorer so far in this tournament for Kansas Rush is Trevor Kearns. He has 4 goals, but it's really been a balanced offense. They scored 15 goals in the first 4 games, but Kearns with 4, Ethan Bowman with 3, Blake Goodale with 2, Zachary Ferguson with 2, to Julio May, Varela, and Nelson all have 1 goal apiece for the Rush. For the Raiders, Blake Van Bruggen has 2 goals, and then a whole host of others with one goal. Is now here's a chance for the Raiders that's turned away by Glass. Get back to the Raiders scoring. Hilling, Larson, Lujan, Leyva, Robbins, Moore, and Michaelis have all scored. They did score one on a penalty kick earlier in the tournament, and also was the benefit of an own goal in this tournament. Kansas Rush trying to turn it upfield, and then it is headed away by Ian Larson. Larson will get it back near side. Larson looking out ahead to Robbins, and that will go out of bounds, and it will be Raiders' ball. Back on defense, Bailey Weeks, and that'll go high in the air, and then eventually roll out of bounds. And it's Chicago Fire Raiders elite ball. Ian Larson will throw it in. Larson takes. It'll go towards center, and it's taken away by Trevor Kearns. Hit upfield by DeJulio. Out of bounds, and it remains Rush ball. Check that, Raiders ball. Leyva plays it. Played it back. And now we'll go upfield. Nystrom. Sent in by Larson. Double teamed up near the 18 and then sent back to midfield. Second by Moore. Jordan Moore trying to turn it around. It goes out, and it is Kansas Rush ball. Chicago Fire Raiders control to midfield. Ian Larson. And they tried to touch it over to Leyva, and it kept in. That was a great play by number 17, Anthony Varela, for the Rush. Down to the ground, and we will get a whistle on number 10, Tony Mock, midfielder. He is committed to the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Only 4 players on the Kansas Rush roster are not committed to a university. For the Chicago Rush Fire Raiders, only a couple of people have actually committed. Still some taking a look at some universities. Most notably, Ian Larson committed to Duquesne University, Nestor Garcia, University of Illinois at Chicago. The Rush trying to play the ball at midfield, and it's taken away. On the far side of the field, and that's knocked out of bounds. I believe that was Hilling who had that go off of him. As the Fire will throw it in. Calling for it is Juan Carlos Lujan. He did not end up getting it. That'll go up top to Hilling. Hilling will then over to Larson. Larson will send that in. Coming up is the goalkeeper, and what a great play by Sam Glass to run up from the box and sky up to save that one. Back to Glass, and he will boot that towards midfield. Chested by a Raider player. Trying to turn the ball around was Cole Nelson, and that'll be sent back in by Lujan. Chicago Fire Raiders elite with the ball. Nystrom will give it off to Larson. Larson will send it up ahead. Turnaround move tried that time. And then it was kicked out of bounds. Foot race to the ball. And that ended up being won by the Rush. Couldn't really do anything with it. They give it off to Barangan for the Chicago Fire Raiders. Out of bounds, and it will be Kansas Rush ball. Kansas Rush will inbound once, or throw in once again. That'll go towards Nelson. Cole Nelson with the ball. Pass over to Schreeman, but that's intercepted. Kansas Rush once ahead. Chicago Fire Raiders with the ball, trying to set something up at midfield. Leyva out to Hilling. Hilling, look out on the wing. And it's taken away by the Rush. Forward for the Rush, and rushing to get it is Trujillo, the goalkeeper for the Raiders. In about the 13th minute of the first half, no score between Fire Raiders Elites and the Kansas Rush Academy. That is played over to Ian Larson, and they go back up top. Nystrom will give it off to Lujan. And that'll be out of bounds. And remains Chicago ball. This team for Chicago Fire, national champions in 2010 and 2011. Coach Mark McElliott, the Illinois Coach of the Year in 2011, Regional Coach of the Year as well. This team is the 2013 State Cup champs in Illinois and the Region 2 champs last year for the U17 boys. We get a whistle. Saw the Kansas Rush players begging for a call basically against the Raiders. And they finally get it, and a free kick here for Kansas. Chicago Fire trying to get it out ahead. It's on the far sideline. Sent in and then headed right out. Great play by the defense of the Kansas Rush. Cole Nelson was the one that was able to head that out of trouble. Out of bounds and out of trouble. That was Jordan Moore, who knocked it out of trouble. Kansas Rush trying to play the ball out ahead.
Pick up defensively. Give us your body out there.
Schreeman with the ball. And Schreeman has it taken away. Up by the Rush. A little bit of information about Duda Conte, the head coach of the Kansas Rush Academy. He's a former MLS player for the New England Revolution. Played in the 2002 MLS final with the Revolution. They were the Eastern Conference champions at that time. Also second team All MLS 2002. Also a member of the Mali national team. Fire with the ball. Out on the wing, and that will be a goal. Chicago Fire with the goal, and they lead 1-0 over Kansas Rush. Number 28 for the Chicago Fire Raiders. We actually do not have him on our roster. But that's a 1-0 lead for the Chicago Fire. Goal coming in the 17th minute of this contest. Kansas Rush now trying to play the ball and get something going to equalize as the Fire have a 1-0 lead. Ethan Bowman with the ball. And Chicago really pressuring. He had us swarming to the ball, trying to get it away from Bowman. And they thwarted that up. Now Varela out on the sideline. Out ahead, and that one is in, headed in. And we get the equalizer. Goal for Kansas Rush. Right away to tie it up, and now we're all knotted at 1. Tony Mock with the goal. And that is his first goal of this tournament, coming at the 19th minute. So just about 2 minutes after the first goal is scored, we're even at 1. Out on the side, that's Varela trying to make something happen for the Kansas Rush. Throw in by Ian Larson. Looking for Leyva. Out over to Lujan. Larson along the sidelines, back to Larson. In the middle of the field, Kansas Rush trying to find somewhere to get it away, and that one just a off angle. Great try for Larson, but just didn't have the angle on the goal, and it goes out of bounds. So we got a goalkeeper or a goal kick, excuse me, for Sam Glass. At the 21st minute, halfway through the first half, and it's all tied up at 1. Glass, goal kick to midfield, and that'll be headed out of bounds. Remains Kansas rush ball. That one goes off the face of Schreeman. Sliding move by Varela. And that keeps the possession for the rush. Out in the middle of the field, going up for the header. Goodale. Now go back to the Fire Raiders goalkeeper, Trulio. Trulio with the goal kick. Headed out nicely by Lujan. .28 on the sideline. Tried to get it out ahead, and it's taken by the rush. Trying to advance upfield. Marquez. Very physical play, but all good. And there's a great save by Trulio. It was a good shot, good idea, but right into the hands of Trulio, and we remain tied at 1. 23rd minute of play here in the first half.
Jake, you have to make a decision. When you come, you have to come or stay. You understand? Now, Jake, let's go.
To the middle of the field, Leyva. That one will go out of bounds, and we'll get a throw in. Throw in for the Chicago Fire Raiders. Ian Larson going to track that down. He has to go onto the other field of play to go get the ball. Larson, and that one will go out of bounds. You'll get a corner set up for the Fire. Jordan Moore trotting over to set up the corner for the Raiders. Jordan Moore ready. And that's headed in the middle of the field and will be saved from going out of bounds by the rush. And going to pick it up is Glass, the keeper. And a little tugging, a little pulling on the field. Kansas rush with the ball, trying to get out ahead. And it's deflected and sent in by the rush, by the Chicago Fire Raiders. Out of bounds, and we will have a substitution here for the Kansas Rush Academy as number 0, Emery May, a midfielder, committed to Furman University, will check in. Emery May will be in for Tony Mock, who scored that goal in the 19th minute of this contest. And that 1-1, and that's where we stand right now. Ball will go out of bounds. And we will have a goal kick for Sam Glass, keeper for Kansas Rush, who is committed to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. So getting some action in here where he's not too far away from where he's college ball. That was May as the Kansas Rush their own zone. Running around to try to go get it is Varela. That was headed by Blake Van Bruggen, number 30. He is the leading scorer in this tournament so far for the Chicago Fire Raiders. He has 2 goals. Chicago Fire Raiders playing the ball here in the 27th minute. Trying to turn it upfield, and it's turned away by the Rush defense momentarily. Ethan Bowman played that one, and it'll go out of bounds. Fire Raiders Academy ball. Get a substitution for the Raiders as number 25, Kevin Mahoney, will check in. Mahoney will be in for Leyva. Chicago Fire Raiders elites will inbound. At midfield, Chicago Fire Raiders with the ball. Out on the wing, and a nice play to get past Schreeman and still hold on to it. Sent back out by the Rush to the far side of the field, and coming in, big strong play for Brannigan, and Glass will be able to pick that up. Great save by Glass. Just a little bit out of position. You saw him reach down and have to spin around after he picked up the ball. But nonetheless, a great save by Glass. Chicago Fire Raiders with a lot of great pressure here in the first half. In the middle of the field, it was taken away by Chicago. On the far side, that was sent in by Barangan, and over to Glass, who's able to grab it. Here at the USA Youth Sports here in Appleton, Wisconsin. Justin Barrientos here in the Turbo Sports Group Network. 1-1 between the Kansas Rush Academy and Chicago Fire Raiders Elite. And this to head off to Nationals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We'll get a couple more subs coming up for Kansas Rush. Number 7, Zachary Ferguson, committed to bench, will be in. Ferguson will be in for Anthony Varela for the Fire Raiders. Number 4, also not on our roster, will come in. Kansas Rush Academy with the ball. That'll be Chicago ball, and they'll throw it in. Chicago with the ball out to Baranigan. Across the field looking for Larson, and that's headed away by Ferguson. Larson sends it to the middle of the field, and it's picked up by the Rush. Blake Goodale sends that into the corner, and it's out of bounds. It'll be Chicago ball, Chicago throw-in. Headed over to Nestor Garcia. Garcia will play it to the far side. Mahoney over here to the side for Larson. Van Bruggen to the middle. Chicago Fire with the ball. To the far side of the field, and Baranigan. Baranigan got it in front. They'll go back to Baranigan. Across the field. Kansas Rush trying to play it in their own zone and get it out. Trying to play it off to Kearns. They will send it back down, giving chase Goodale. And Goodale just couldn't catch up to it. Ferguson trying to play it for the Rush. Now over to Ian Larson for Chicago. Nice slide, Cole Nelson trying to get the ball, and instead commits the foul. And we'll get a substitution here for the Kansas Rush Academy as number 13, Dalton Dye, midfielder, will come in. Dye will be in for Blake Goodale, who will be headed to Colorado Christian University to play his collegiate soccer. Still 1-1. At the 35th minute of play here in the first half. And Glass able to get his hands on it once again and stop that offensive push by the Chicago Fire Raiders elite. There's a chance for Baranigan, and that's turned away. We have more substitutions coming in the next stoppage of play. Baranigan and a diving stop by the rush. Coming out ahead, that was Ethan Bowman. And it's taken away by Chicago. Trying to keep that one inbounds and turn it up. That's Nestor Garcia. Chance that goes over the goal. Henry Hilling, number 19, with the shot. And we have substitutions coming up for the Kansas Rush Academy. Jesse Andonian, number 78. Number 4, Tyler Seaman. And number 3, Donald Pellin, all checking in for Kansas. Kobe Ilian, number 20, in for the Raiders. We will play on after the substitutions. Goal kick coming up for Sam Glass. Out of bounds, and it will be Chicago ball. Sent ahead, and the Rush able to control. Goalkeeper in Glass. Glass with the strong boot, and we had 2 players collide in midair, and now we'll have an injury for the Rush as he went up high to get the goal kick from Glass. Had a defender kind of undercut him, collided in midair, and then both fell down to the turf. And we have a stoppage of play, and now the head referee, Zach Marzelli, will come over and see if he's able to continue on or if we'll need a substitution. It looks like play will be allowed to continue. Zachary Marquez will now play it. It was Tyler Seaman who had just checked into the game, shaken up during that last play, trying to walk it off, and it looks like he will be okay. Out of bounds, and a goal kick coming up for Trulio. Still 1-1 late here in the first half. To the middle of the field. Barangan trying to play that over to Mahoney. Mahoney with the slide, but it's taken by the Rush. And now here comes Pellin. And Pellin with the strong boot. That'll go out of bounds over the goal. We get a substitution. Chicago. It's Nathaniel Michaelis will check in. Michaelis will be in for Van Bruggen. To the middle of the field and picked up by Chicago. Now turned around by the Rush. was Andonian who was able to get it away. Had to play it off to Marquez. And now a throw in for Kansas. And still Kansas ball, a throw in. Emery May trying to get in there, and we'll get a whistle. And it'll be Chicago ball. Free kick for Chicago. Down the field. Headed back by Andonian. It'll be played over by Hilling. Back near side. Hilling trying to split the defender, and it'll go back to Glass. Glass will put it on the turf and has to hurry. Pressure Chicago. And that was a great heads-up play by Michaelis to try to come in and really rush the kick. Out on the far side, Ferguson went after it, and it remains Kansas ball. Quick throw in. Here's time winding down in the first half. We're in the 41st minute. Turn around by the rush. 3 defenders right around May as he tried to turn upfield for the ball. Near side. Hilling had it taken away as Jacob Schriemann takes it away and then plays it off to the keeper in Glass. An opportunity for Chicago, and Hilling's shot is stopped. Saved by Glass. Throw in for Chicago. It'll be Ian Larson to throw in. Played back to the keeper. Glass boots that ahead. Chase was Kobe Ilian. Turned around and it will go out of bounds. And it will be Kansas ball. Referee's discussing something with the players on the sidelines. Talking to one Kansas player, one Chicago player. And now Kansas will throw it in. Chicago able to steal it away. Loose ball, now turned around by the rush. That was Donald Pellin who sprinted out with it. Tried to get it out ahead, looking for Ferguson. And instead, Chicago turns it around. Now headed back by Kansas. Ian Larson at midfield. Larson over to Hilling. Headed out by the rush. Back to Larson. Larson trying to set something up for the Fire, and it's intercepted by the Kansas Rush. May out ahead, and we had a whistle and a foul called away from the ball. Due to Conte, head coach for the Kansas Rush Academy, not happy with the call by Zach Marzelli, the head referee. Be a free kick here for Kansas. Time winding down here in the first half. And to the goalkeeper, Trulio. Diving stop by Trulio. Larson dribbling upfield, plays it back to the far side. Chicago out ahead, looking to set something up for Hilling. Pass went a little bit too far as Schreeman tracks it down. We'll have 1 minute of stoppage time, it appears.
What is the time? We're 45 right now. He hasn't given me a stoppage yet. Referee, what is the time?
And here, due to Conte possibly on the sidelines, head coach for Kansas looking, and there's 1 minute of stoppage time shown. So we're almost to the halftime break as Ian Larson plays that up for Chicago. Taken away by Bailey Weeks, number 24 of the Rush. And that'll be the end of the first half. 1-1. Your score after one half of play. Here in the two championships on the U18 boys side. This contest heads off to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the national championships. Here at the end of the first half. Again, your score 1-1 after the end of the first half. You're watching coverage of the 2015 Region 2 Championships on the Turbo Sports Group Network.
You know how to do all this? Oh yeah, piece of cake. So what do these ones do? Where's the explosive?
6 minutes up.
I like that one.
I'm trying to look at you, but I could never see you, so I just held it at my side.
I never saw it. Okay.
Yeah, go! Straight ball back, Sol! Straight ball back, Sol!
Especially not when we're getting
No damage there! 40 yards off the ball! Get your voice!
Coverage of the 2015 U.S. Youth Soccer 2015 Region 2 Championships brought to you by the Turbo Sports Group, Capri Sun, Kohl's, Liberty Mutual, Mango.org, Nestle, Nike, Olive Garden, Sports Authority, and Wilson. All right. And welcome back to the USA Youth Sports Complex here in Appleton, Wisconsin. It is the 2015 Region 2 Championship in the U18 boys bracket. Winner of this game goes off to Nationals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right now we are knotted at 1-all. Quick goals in the first half. Number 28, Tyler Robbins, with the first goal of the game for the Chicago Fire Raiders Elite, that coming in the 17th minute of the contest. Then that was equalized by number 10, Tony Mock, for the Kansas Rush Academy in the 19th minute of the first half. And that has been the scoring that we've had so far between these two teams. Second half ready to get underway. And again, to determine who will be the Region 2 champion. Kansas Rush will start out with the ball. Tony Mock is back in the contest. As we said, he had the goal in the 19th minute. He was subbed out late in the first half, but now has returned to start the second half. And we are underway. It's played back for Emery May. Rush trying to move out ahead. On the field, we get a whistle, and we get a foul called. And that'll set up a free kick for the Kansas Rush. Jesse Andonian, defender. He will now defer. Jacob Schreeman will take that free kick. Schreeman sends it. And it's batted, and there's a save in front by Trulio. Trulio has been fairly active today with a number of athletic saves. It's in midfield, and Chicago trying to play it around. Zachary Barangan out ahead. Trying to find Garcia, and nice sliding move to get that out. Tyler Seaman knocking that one away. May takes it away for the Rush. Calling for it on the sideline was Varela, trying to get a head of steam going and move out. They did not see him on the sideline. He was looking to try to get past Barangan. Thought that Barangan might be out of position just a little bit, wanted to exploit that, but the pass did not come. And instead it's taken away by the Chicago Fire Raiders. And that's sent out to the middle of the field, picked up by Seaman. Seaman now will get it to Varela as Barangan comes in on defense. And it is taken away. We get a whistle. And a little good sportsmanship there as you see Nestor Garcia hit the turf for Chicago. Varela maybe pushed him just a little bit and then came over and exchanged pleasantries. And now we'll get back to action as Barangan standing around the ball for the free kick. And instead it looks like it will be Robbins. Check that. It'll be Ian Larson, midfielder, who will take the free kick. He sets it up. Barangan goes past it. Now Larson, flying punch by Glass to get it out of trouble. Now we will get a whistle from the referee as defender for Chicago grabbing the back of Tony Mock, who was advancing up the field. And I think you see one of the Zachary Marquez, number 37, coming out, and I think he expected a card to be shown for the play. And in fact, due to also coming over to one of the referees, head coach for Kansas Rush, he wanted a card to be shown. Instead, it'll be a free kick for Kansas, and that'll be saved by Jorge Trulio. Playing the ball, Jesse Andonian. Andonian out ahead. It'll go over to Nystrom, and Nystrom will kick it on the far side of the line. Out of bounds. It'll be Chicago Fire ball. You had to track the ball down as it went over to the baseball complex on the other side. Chicago Fire Raiders Elite will now throw it in. And we have a player shaken up for the Kansas Rush, slow to get to his feet. And now he's back up. Zachary Marquez with the ball. He's trying to find Varela, sprinting on the near sideline. Instead, it's taken by Jordan Moore. Kept in and down the field was Tyler Seaman, playing it back for Marquez. Trying to move it forward. Varela got a foot on it. And we will get a whistle. And a foul was called, and now the Fire will play it. They'll play it back for Barang. Tony Mock picks up the loose ball. Mock with the strong boot over the goal. Goal kick coming up for Trulio. Trulio setting up the goal kick. And that will be knocked out of bounds by Andonian. Throw in for the Chicago Fire Raiders Elite. Downfield, headed by Bailey Weeks. Marquez able to knock it out of trouble. Here comes Varela for the Kansas Rush. Varela off on the left side, trying to get it past Barangan, and he'll put a shot on goal and a save for Trulio. Trulio with the kick downfield is taken by May for the Kansas Rush. And then sent in to Mock. Chicago controlling now in the middle of the field. Now it's a Leyva will play it back to Barangan. Varela tried to come it away, but Barangan able to pass it backwards. Get a whistle and a foul called on Ferguson. Chicago with the ball. To the middle of the field in Leyva. Leyva will play it out ahead. And that one will be saved by Glass. Hilling tried to get it off on the sideline, and allow an odd angle shot. But Glass comes up with the save. Durangan playing it back to Trulio. Headed by and then sent back in by Bailey Weeks. Weeks came up to add that and try to give the rush a play. But instead, Chicago comes away with it.
Come on, Tony. Now, Scott. Much better, Scott.
No, I'll mention that really good play there by Seaman. He appeared to maybe have tweaked a leg with that sliding kick. He's trying to walk around, try to walk off that injury for Kansas. And now the Fire come upfield. It's Nystrom. He will give it off to Leyva. Leyva gets across midfield. Nestor Garcia plays it off Andonian. Hilling tried to cross and a goal! Set up Leyva, and they're going to wave it off. Offside. Leyva came in on the one-timer, but he was offside when he touched the ball, and so the goal does not count. It was a great idea and a great setup, but Leyva just out in front of the defender, and no goal. And Leyva gets hurt. It appears to be okay. He'll play on. He bent over for just a minute at midfield after a challenge. Hilling down, and that goes over the goal and out of bounds. Sam Glass has given up 6 goals in this tournament for the Kansas Rush Academy. He will play the ball. Gave up just 1 goal in a 6-1 win over OFC Elite from Nebraska. Had a shutout against Lou Fuzz Pike, and then gave up 2 goals in the last 2 games against Layton FC and Bavarians of Wisconsin. 1-1 here between Chicago and Kansas. May plays it for the Rush. May gets across midfield. May has Ferguson, and then a trailer. May with the shot that goes wide to the left. Emery May, midfielder, played that one about 3/4 of the field. Ended up getting a shot, but it just went wide of the net. Trulio will set up the goal kick. Leyva plays it, and then it was sent back by Marquez. Down to the field, the referee walking over. And we'll see what the call was. He may come over and talk. There is a lot of hand checking going on in that play. And it'll end up being a free kick for Chicago. Hilling sends it back. Hilling will get it once again. All the way back. Picked up by Jordan Moore. Varela trying to play it. He goes down to the field. And we'll get a foul called. It'll be a free kick coming up for Kansas. Tony Mock will come over and set up his free kick. Mock taking a look. Free kick sent in and grabbed by Trulio. Trulio puts it on the turf. And then forward. Headed up by Seaman. And now Seaman being talked to by the referee. And now one of Seaman's teammates will come up and also try to talk something over. Be a free kick for the Kansas Rush Academy. Referee trying to get control of the game, putting everybody where they need to be so we can get back to action. Zachary Marquez will get the pass. Marquez down for Varela, and it's headed out of bounds by Berangan. Get a throw in for Kansas, done by Tyler Seaman out to Andonian. Andonian back up top for Marquez. And it's taken away. Great play by Henry Hilling to take it away for Chicago. Van Bruggen trying to set something up. And we get a whistle. May goes down to one knee to tie his shoe, but we have a substitution coming up for Chicago as number 25, Kevin Mahoney, will check in. Mahoney will be in for Elias Leyva. Down court field for Glass. Varela trying to turn it around. Great defense being played by Chicago to stunt Varela. That was Kevin Mahoney who had just checked in. Mahoney able to take it away off to Hilling. Hilling near side. Downfield. Wasn't anybody there. And it'll be picked up by Marquez. Off to the goalkeeper in Glass. Glass will give it back to Marquez near side. Seaman over to Varela, and Varela will play that off the head of Berangan. Out of bounds. About the 63rd minute of this contest. Chicago trying something on the up and over. That was Tyler Seaman going up, colliding, and then landing on the field, grabbing his head right when he went down to the field, and he may have to come out of this game. And we will have to have a substitution. We'll get medical attention coming out to Seaman. Dauda Kante will head over to check on Seaman, his defender. And now Seaman will be assisted off the field. And number 14, Jake DeJulio, who is committed to Western Michigan University, will check in for Kansas. Just a dangerous-looking play for Seaman. He's been involved in a couple of those today. And he will head off to the bench and get some medical attention. Seaman coming off the field, wincing, eyes closed as he was heading off to the bench. He'll get checked out. Play now continues. Tony Mock plays it for Kansas. We'll go over to Varela. And Varela down to the field. Barangan takes it away for Chicago. Barangan up the field. Barangan looking for Mahoney. Too far ahead of Mahoney. And it's turned upfield by Kansas. Now Varela across midfield. Out of bounds. And we'll get some substitutions here. We'll get a sub for Chicago. Number 4 for Chicago, Gerardo Rodriguez, will check in. Rodriguez will be in for Lujan. Far side of the field, it's Ferguson for the rush. Tried to send it in, it's sent right back. High into the air, played off the head of Andonian. Now sent down, looking for Mock. He couldn't control it. May, over to DeJulio. DeJulio off to Varela. Varela will send it across, and Ferguson just couldn't get up high enough to get ahead on the ball. It goes out of bounds, and we'll have a substitution here for Kansas. It will be number 15, Cole Nelson, committed to the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Nelson will be in for Jesse Andonian. A goal kick coming up here for Trujillo. May running up for it, and it's now played by Hilling. Hilling downfield, they'll head it over to Glass. And Glass will play it. Glass had to look out. Blake Van Bruggen just kind of wandering around back there, maybe trying to take advantage of a mental miscue, but Glass saw him and ended up getting it down the field. Varela lost his footing. Hilling plays it. Varela trying to challenge Van Bruggen, or excuse me, Brannigan. Rodriguez downfield for Chicago, over to Hilling. And it's taken away and sent downfield. Varela hit from behind by Barangan. And Barangan called for the foul. It'll be a free kick for Kansas. Looks like Barangan being talked to by the official. And now Kansas plays the free kick. On the side, Kansas with control, trying to send it in, and it's headed right out. Downfield, Van Bruggen trying to play it. It'll be thrown in by Kansas, and we have a substitution. Kansas will send in Trevor Kearns, committed to Eastern Illinois University. Kearns, the leading goal scorer for Kansas Rush in this tournament with 4 goals. Had 2 in yesterday's win over Bavarians. He will check in as Dalton Dye, number 13, will come off. May for Kansas. He'll send it over to the other side to Julio. Kearns had 2 defenders on him. May will play it at the center of the field. Marquez over to Nelson and then to Kearns. Kearns turning around, and it's taken away by Hilling. Rodriguez with the header, and now it's May for Kansas with the ball. May will go over to DeJulio. Taken away by Hilling of Chicago. Rodriguez looking to play it forward. Over to Garcia. Garcia back to Rodriguez. Upfield Van Bruggen, and he is tripped up, and will get a yellow card come out. Van Bruggen on the field, and a yellow card has come out from the referee. Meanwhile, they shift the attention to Van Bruggen as he is down on the field, and he may have to have medical attention. And in fact, no, he'll get up and he'll be okay. Get a free kick here for Chicago after the yellow card. Ian Larson will take the free kick as personnel is arranged on the field. Referee's whistle blown, and now we're ready to go. Here comes the kick from Larson downfield, and that's headed out of trouble. Tony Mock trying to come up on the ball. Now Larson will track it down. It'll go out of bounds. And we have several substitutions, 2 for Kansas and 1 for Chicago. Number 20, Blake Goodale, and number 6, Ethan Bowman, in for Kansas. Number 94, Eric Rios, in for Chicago. Out of bounds and a throw in for Kansas. We are tied up at 1 here in the second half of this Region 2 championship on the U18 boys side. Chicago to throw it in. Jordan Moore throwing it downfield. Van Bruggen had 2 defenders around him. It'll go out of bounds. And we will have a corner set up for Chicago. It'll be Larson who will come over to take it. Larson setting up the corner kick. Larson's corner. It attempted to be headed. It was Nystrom that came in there, but it ends up going out of bounds.
Jaden, keep getting on the ball, kid.
Glass will set up the goal kick for Kansas. Van Bruggen again for Chicago, just kind of hanging around, looking to see if anything happens. Taken down was Tyler Robbins, but play continues as Glass boots it downfield. Saw that battle there between Moore and Kearns. Kearns comes away with it. Kearns trying to turn it upfield. And it was Moore with the good defense to take it away. Moore downfield. Stays in bounds. Marquez plays it towards center. And it's taken by Rodriguez. Now Hilling just stays put. Play backwards to Zachary Marquez. We're in the 76th minute of the contest. Downfield from Marquez. It's Eric Rios playing it out of bounds. A brief stoppage of play as they had to track the ball down from the other field. Throw into Kearns. Kearns still with the ball. Over to Bowman. And that'll be taken by Trulio. Trulio sets up his kick. Goes downfield. May plays it and then falls right on his tailbone. A little slow in getting up. Now we have a Chicago player down. Tyler Robbins in obvious pain grabbing his leg. Play continuing on. Another player for Kansas goes down on the turf. And now they'll check out Robbins on the field. They said there was a player for Kansas shaken up. It appears that he's going to be okay. It looks to be a right ankle injury to Robbins, and he'll try to get up and walk it off. Robbins now back to his feet and trying to walk off that ankle injury. Glass has the ball for Kansas as play will continue after the injuries. Glass has that one intercepted by Rodriguez. Played back by Mahoney. Over to Rios. Rios then near side to Moore. Moore to the middle of the field. Garcia over to Hilling. Played back by DeJulio over to Nelson. Now Chicago will take over. John Nystrom downfield. Stayed in bounds. Back to get it is Nelson for Kansas. Marquez. Over. And that'll go out of bounds. Out of bounds. And that'll be Kansas ball. It appears that Tyler Seaman's afternoon is over, as the medical staff came over to get his player card from the referee. And I believe a head injury to Seaman has ended his day. Rodriguez plays that off the head. It's saved, but then right over to Mahoney. Van Bruggen trying to chase it down, but it's knocked out of bounds by DeJulio, so a throw in for Chicago coming up. It'll be Hilling who will toss this one in. Taken away by May. May will play it forward. Ethan Bowman double teamed. Bowman keeps control. Bowman looking to the other side of the field, and then it's taken away by Larson. Ian Larson with the strong boot downfield, looking for Van Bruggen, but it's taken away. Great defensive play by DeJulio to keep it out of danger. Played back by Bailey Weeks. It goes out. Going over to get the ball is Moore. And a corner set up for Jordan Moore. Jordan Moore backs up, taking a look at the setup. Now he's ready. And here's the corner for Moore. Saved by Glass. Jumping up in the air to grab it. And now he will kick it. Rios looked to call for it, and then sent back in by Ian Larson. And it'll bounce around, and Glass will go over. And Glass will send it downfield. He's looking for Varela on the far side. Played toward Glass, who goes up and grabs it out of the air. Sends it downfield quickly. Kearns trailed by Hilling, who's trying to get the ball away from him. Kearns will send it over. DeJulio sends it in, and there really wasn't anybody there. Varela trying to call for it on the other side of the field, and it goes out. Goal kick for Trulio. Trulio plays it. And they're able to keep it in bounds. That was Hilling that came over to keep it in. Off to Jordan Moore. Jordan Moore downfield colliding with one of the Kansas Rush defenders. I believe that was DeJulio. Mahoney playing it for Chicago. Mahoney looking for Rodriguez. And we get another yellow card coming out. And this will be against Bowman for Kansas. Second yellow that we've seen today. Set up a free kick here for Chicago. Score still tied 1-1. Chicago Fire Raiders elite to set up this free kick. Look to Hilling. Hilling tried to turn it around, and it was knocked away. Sent downfield for Kearns. Kearns trying to track it down. Kearns trying to make a play. Great defense. And that was Mahoney who was all over Kearns as the ball goes out of bounds. DeJulio will throw it in for Kansas. Goes back to DeJulio, sends it in, and then
Come on, John. Let's go, John. Let's go.
booted out by Nystrom.
Billy, go. Take state.
Now set up a corner here for Kansas. Ethan Bowman will set up the corner. There's the corner from Bowman. And that'll be out, and a goal kick coming up for Chicago as we have a couple of substitutions. Number 20, Kobe Ilian in for the Raiders. Number 3, Donald Pellin in for Kansas. Pellin will come in for Varela. And Kobe Ilian will check in for the Chicago Fire Raiders in for Tyler Robbins. And I don't think we were quite ready for play yet. The whistle had not been blown, so Trulio will get the goal kick one more time. Trulio downfield. It's loose and picked up by Kansas. Trying to play it ahead to Kearns. And that will just be saved from going out of bounds on a good hustle play by DeJulio. Chicago will try to turn it upfield. That's Garcia. A little bit of bumping there. Kobe Ilian trying to get it in. They wanted to get it back to Ilian, and it goes out of bounds. And we have a substitution coming in for Chicago. Number 26, Nathaniel Michaelis, will be in for Chicago, as Kansas will throw it into Kearns. Van Bruggen coming out for the Chicago Fire Raiders. Rodriguez heads that one in. Turnaround by Goodale. And we have another errant ball on the field that'll have to be tracked down. Chicago with the ball, trying to play it late here in the second half. Downfield, great pass by Jordan Moore. He's looking for Michaelis. Michaelis still trying to get to it. Moore with the header. Michaelis trying to track it down, gets it away from Kearns. They said it should be Ilian getting it away from Kearns. And diving for it is Sam Glass. Out of bounds, players tangle up just a little bit. Blake Goodale and Jordan Moore colliding with each other, but nothing called. throw in for Kansas.
Belly, make sure we stay in front. Zach, slide right. Zach,
Kansas will throw it in once again. Tried to be sent out that time by Chicago and Rios. Kearns gets it for Kansas. Back to May. And now downfield. That was over the goal. Nelson sent that one down. We'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time. Trulio trying to track down that ball back behind the goal. Still tied at 1. Regulation time winding down. As we said, 3 minutes of stoppage time. Downfield, here's a chance for Kansas. 3 defenders for Chicago disrupting the ball as Bowman tried for an opportunity. But Kansas kept it for just a second, now sent out by Mahoney, and Kansas will throw it in. Bowman again, sending it backwards. Now May. May will get it over to DeJulio. Kearns picks it up. Back to DeJulio. And that's kicked out of bounds. Jordan Moore knocks that one out. Kansas with the throw-in. Top.
Up now, up, corner.
Up in the air, and that one will go out. It'll be Kansas possession.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Getting to the end of the stoppage time here in the second half.
Corner, corner. Come on, guys, come on.
Trulio grabs that, and it'll be a corner. Or a goal kick, excuse me.
Jake.
No, actually it will be a corner. Ethan Bowman will set up the corner for Kansas. And this might just be the last good opportunity here for Kansas as we're tied up at 1. Bowman sends it in, and a grab by the keeper. Trulio grabs it out of midair and downfield. Does Chicago have enough time to set something up? Just barely misplayed by Michaelis. They turn it upfield, diving for it. Nelson, and that's sent into Glass. He picks it up. Throws it over to DeJulio, and that will be the end of the second half as this championship game will head into overtime. "1-1" is your score at the end of regulation. Tyler Robbins with the only goal for Chicago. Tony Mock with the only goal for Kansas. And we will step aside for a couple of minutes as we get ready for the overtime. You're watching coverage of the 2015 Region 2 Boys Championship on the Turbo Sports Group Network. And welcome back. Extra time here to determine the winner of the U18 2015 Region 2 U.S. Youth Soccer Championship. Justin Barrientos here on the Turbo Sports Group Network. As we've gone into overtime, we are tied at 1 between the Chicago Fire Raiders Elite and the Kansas Rush Academy Blue. We will have two 15-minute periods here in overtime, and if we're still tied after that, it'll go to 5-on-5 penalty kicks. We'll have a little bit of break after the first 15 minutes of overtime. About a minute break in between, and then we'll get to 15 minutes again. There's no golden goal here, so we will play the entire 30 of overtime. Get a free kick here for Kansas after that last whistle, as Tony Mock, who has scored the only goal for Kansas so far, will take this free kick. Mock scored in the 19th minute to tie it up after Tyler Robbins got the game's first goal in the 17th minute. Mock ready for his free kick, sends it in, and it's headed out. That was Barangan for Chicago, able to get it back out. And then turned up field, Nystrom. Nystrom far side, sends it ahead, looking for Van Bruggen, but it went out of bounds, and it'll be a Kansas throw-in. Zachary Marquez off to DeJulio. DeJulio will send it to the center of the field. It'll be back to Marquez. Marquez out in front, looking for Varela. And downfield, giving chase is Goodale. Goodale trying to work on the Chicago defender. Was able to turn it upfield. And then sent back by Goodale, and Chicago will pick it up. Rodriguez looking for Garcia. Garcia back to Rodriguez. And then it'll be sent out of bounds. It remains Chicago ball. Just about 2 minutes gone here in the first 15 of overtime. Still tied, 1-1. Inbound pass went to Mahoney. Mahoney will play it back to Rodriguez. Barangan will send it downfield. Turn around, Garcia. Garcia getting past two defenders. Looking for Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a chance. Pass intercepted and picked up by Glass. Downfield for Kansas, and that was intercepted by Mahoney. Turnaround, Leyva. And it will be a Kansas throw-in. And we'll get a foul called on Ferguson as he collided with Mahoney, sending Mahoney down to the turf. Chicago takes over following the whistle. Downfield. That's headed back by Kansas to downfield. Looking for Varela, and that's kicked out of bounds. Throw in for Kansas. Pressure by Garcia. Puts his hand up in the air as DeJulio tried to get past him, and the ball goes onto the other field. Kansas will throw it in once again. That's to Julio. Over to Mock. Tony Mock trying to play it backward. Was looking for Nelson. It'll go to the other side of the field. Now Andonian. Mock trying to chase it down. And Mock with a little push off. But nothing called. Andonian will go over the goal. It'll be a goal kick for Trulio. Trulio backs up. Long leg to midfield. Downfield, and that was headed by Kansas and DeJulio. Over to Berangan. Berangan will play it backward. Moore with the ball. Moore downfield. And it was Ferguson who was able to hit it back for Kansas. Garcia turns it around. Garcia over to Rodriguez. Rodriguez looking to go back to Garcia, and it's intercepted. Garcia gets it back, plays it off on the side for Berangan. A little loose footing as Rodriguez slipped on the turf, otherwise he may have had it. Now Varela downfield for Kansas. Varela trying to make a move. Varela passes off. Back to DeJulio. DeJulio sends it in, and that will go out of bounds over the goal. Trulio will have a goal kick opportunity here for Chicago. About 7 minutes gone in the first 15 minutes of overtime. Trulio with the goal kick. Ball comes into the field from the other field, still bouncing around, and now we'll get pitches. We'll kick the ball out. Maybe a free kick here for Kansas after that stoppage. Cole Nelson setting up the free kick. Nelson and Varela over there. Nelson ready. Nelson sends it down, headed, and out of bounds. Goal kick for Chicago. Trulio gets it ready. Over to Berangan. Berangan sends it down. That's headed out. It was Bailey Weeks able to head it. Ferguson going down. We get a whistle. And a foul will be called on Chicago. And Kansas will get the free kick. DeJulio, Andonian, Varela to Mock. DeJulio downfield. And we have an injury It looks like Jordan Moore down in the field for Chicago. He was spiked. It was unintentional. Going up for the ball was Blake Goodale in the air, and when he came down, he unfortunately just landed right on Moore. And Moore trying to stretch it out. Moore will get up and try to walk it off. Looks like he'll be okay. Barangan throws it in. Garcia up top. Rodriguez tried to play it. And we get a whistle and the referee talking to Rodriguez. There's a couple of subs getting ready for Kansas, but they're not quite all checked in yet, so they will have to stay on the sideline. Free kick for Chicago. It'll be Moore who will take it. Moore over to Barangan. Moore will give chase to this one. And Moore will send it downfield. It's headed by DeJulio. Varela right there. Barangan takes it away. Give back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez tries to center, loose. Nelson diving for it. And now the keeper, Glass, gets his hands on it. Gets that one out of trouble. It's approximately 11 minutes now gone in the overtime, in the first 15. Andonian with the ball for Kansas, turning it upfield. It goes back to Andonian. He'll go over to Nelson. Nelson sends it forward. Ferguson tried to sprint, but it'll go right to the goalkeeper in Trujillo. Downfield. Mock trying to center to Goodale. Goodale looking back to block. Mock. And that's knocked out of bounds by Barangan. We will get 3 subs come in for Kansas. We have number 8, Trevor Kearns, number 6, Ethan Bowman, and number 0, Emery May, all checking in for Kansas. Time winding down here in the first 15 minutes of overtime. Out of bounds. Remains Kansas ball. They'll throw it in. In the corner. Bowman tried to center. Rodriguez looking to track it down for Chicago. Rodriguez does take control. Rodriguez downfield looking for Van Bruggen. He goes through 3 defenders. Van Bruggen picks it up. Van Bruggen turnaround. And that is headed away. High goal kick by Glass. They'll come down to the field. Off to Kearns. Kearns has it taken away. Barangan sent it out of bounds, and it's Kansas throw-in. DeJulio throws it in. Marquez over to Nelson. Nelson will send it to the other side for May. Take on. But then right back to Kansas. And that'll be end of the first 15 minutes of overtime. So we'll have just a brief break to reset for the second 15 minutes. We are still tied at 1. Scoring started in the 17th minute of the game. Tyler Robbins for Chicago got the first goal. And then 2 minutes later, Tony Mock for Kansas tied it up. And since then, we have been scoreless. We have 15 minutes left of overtime. And then if we're still tied up at the end of that overtime, remember there's no golden goal. So if the 15 minutes expires and we're still tied up, then we go to penalty kicks. And they have already decided that, from your vantage point, the inside goal is the one that they'll take the penalty kicks from. It'll be 5 players from each side that will take their penalty kicks. And then after that, it goes to sudden death. This is for a trip to U.S. Youth Soccer Nationals, which will be held in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You're watching the 2015 Region 2 U18 Boys Championship here on the Turbo Sports Group Network. Players go off to the sidelines to get a brief drink. And now Chicago out on the field, Kansas coming out on the field as well. And we'll have minutes left before we go to penalty kicks. We're here at the U.S. Youth Soccer Complex here in Appleton, Wisconsin. And 15 minutes left in this championship game. The head referee Zach Marzelli with the ball as both teams will now come back out of their huddles and take their spots. And down to the final 15 before it go to penalty kicks. Chicago will have possession of the ball first here in the last half of overtime. Blake Van Bruggen, number 30, talking with our head referee as we're ready to begin play. Nestor Garcia, number 16, also there. And here we go in the final 15. Rodriguez for Chicago. Plays it back for Berangan. And they'll play it back further. Off on the side, Ian Larson. Sent back down to Julio. Or check that, Bailey Weeks. And that was a chance. A little rush that time by Tyler Robbins, but nothing doing there, and we remain tied at 1. Marquez downfield for Kansas. Trying to set up something as Kearns has it. Kearns will go backward to Schreeman. Schreeman looking to feed Goodale, but it just bent wide. Kearns has that one go off his foot. He'll go over to May on the near side. May trying to make a move, and he was pickpocketed. Downfield, that one was played by Weeks. Nelson will now go over. Back to the keeper in Glass. Ethan Bowman with the ball. Turnaround. And he just boots that high and long out of bounds. Goal kick coming up for Trulio. Trulio will set up his goal kick. 13 minutes remaining, a little less than 13 minutes remaining here in overtime. Trulio ready. And downfield. Tipped by Nelson. Garcia. Mahoney. Backward for Nystrom. Nystrom to the near sideline. And that was just saved by going out of bounds by Rodriguez. Mock plays it for Kansas. Mock will go back for Weeks. Weeks gets it back from Nelson. Weeks out to Mock. Tony Mock tries to turn it around. Kearns back to Mock. Downfield, too far for May. Out of bounds and a goal kick coming up for Trulio. Trulio setting up another goal kick for Chicago. Headed by Mock over to May. May looking ahead for Goodale. Goodale trying to keep control, trying to make his turn. Can't quite shake his defender in Nystrom. It's out of bounds. Throw in for Kansas. Kansas with another opportunity here as DeJulio turns it upfield. Sent in and over the goal. Goal kick coming up for Chicago. Trulio will set it up. A little under 10 minutes left to go here in the second half of overtime. Trulio waiting for his side to get set up. And now Trulio ready. And that'll be played back to the keeper and Trulio. Trulio picks it up as Goodale came in to try to pressure. Trulio downfield, headed by Mock. Headed back by Barangan. Barangan then sends it in, and it's knocked out of bounds by Bowman. Chicago ball. Barangan will throw it in to Rodriguez, and Rodriguez can't get past Cole Nelson. Had to try to track down the ball across the way. It's Chicago with the throw-in. That one goes out of bounds.
Trey, slide right. Watch the ball.
Get a corner set up here for Chicago as Ian Larson will set it up. Larson ready, and here's his corner. That's past the goal box and headed out of bounds. Chicago had to go track down the ball behind the goal, and they'll set up a corner on the other side. This time it'll be Jordan Moore who will have to take the corner. Moore ready for his corner. And that corner headed out of trouble by Kansas. May gets it downfield. Now May with a full head of steam. Boots it down, trying to get it to Kearns. Coming way out of the box is Trulio. Mock trying to get it back. And it'll be taken by the Chicago defense. A wild series there as Barangan had to backtrack to go get it for Chicago. Kearns trying to turn it upfield. And that'll bounce easily to Trulio. Trulio boots it downfield. Mock takes it for Kansas. Try to get it upfield. And then booted out of bounds by DeJulio. Chicago ball. Barangan throws it in. And that'll go too far and end up going out of bounds. Kansas will get the throw in. The throw in goes to May. 3 defenders around him. And then Weeks boots it, but struck a Chicago player before going out of bounds. Kansas with the throw in. And get it downfield. Played by Bowman. And we will get a whistle. Kansas with the free kick. Setting up the free kick, Jacob Schreeman. Under 5 minutes left to go here in the second overtime. Schreeman sends it down. Back to Bowman. Bowman looking for Mock, and then coming up on the ball was Barangan to hit it downfield. Schreeman now trying to set up some offense. Downfield for Van Bruggen, headed out of bounds by Nelson, and we will get a late substitution for Chicago. Number 26, Nathaniel Michaelis will check in. Michaelis will be in for Kevin Mahoney. Barangan will throw it in for Chicago, off to Hilling. Rodriguez turns it upfield for Chicago. Sliding tackle, nicely played by Marquez. Downfield for May. May just couldn't get a shot off. Tracks it down. May still trying to control, trying to get past Larson. Ball went out of bounds, and it'll be a goal kick for Chicago. Trulio setting up the goal kick. Trulio boots it downfield. Headed by Garcia. Weeks looking for Mock, but Rodriguez able to hit it. Downfield for May. Rodriguez sends it on the far side. Turning around Michaelis. Out of bounds, and it'll be Chicago throw-in. Just a couple of minutes left here in the second overtime. We're still tied at 1. Out of bounds, remains Chicago ball. Chicago throws it in, but taken away by Kansas. Now here's May. May trying to get it away. We'll get it back to May near sideline. May dribbling downfield. And we get a whistle. And we'll get another yellow card. Yellow pulled on Hilling. And we'll get a free kick here for Kansas. With time winding down, it'll be Ethan Bowman who will take the free kick. Bowman will set up this free kick. Possibly the last good chance here in the second overtime for Kansas. Bowman ready. Ethan Bowman's free kick sent in and knocked away and then covered up by Trulio. Trulio downfield.
Everything up, Jake. One time.
Garcia turns it upfield.
Come on,
In the air, May, handball, and it'll be Chicago ball.
Again, it's over. But you need to let us know. Again. I know, I got it. You didn't get it last time too.
So there's a little extra stoppage time here in overtime because of the yellow card. We just had that explained by the referee. Duda Conte, head coach for Kansas, thought the time was over, but there was less than a minute left to go here in the second overtime. Kearns trying to track it down for Kansas. Mock with the header. Trying to move it up forward. Didn't quite go. Turn around here for Chicago. And then sent in by DeJulio, and that will be the end of overtime. So we've played 2 full halves, 2 15-minute overtimes, and we are still tied at 1. This will go to penalty kicks. And let's take a brief time out here as they get set for the penalty kicks. Again, you're watching the 2015 U18 Boys Region 2 Championship on the Turbo Sports Group Network. All right, we're getting ready for the penalty kicks here after the overtime was done. This is the 2015 Region 2 U18 Boys Championship here on the Turbo Sports Group Network. Justin Barrientos along with you. And we will do 5-on-5 penalty kicks. And if we're still tied after that, we would go to sudden death overtime. So now here is Jordan Moore for Chicago. He will get the first attempt at a penalty kick on Sam Glass, the keeper for Kansas Rush. Here we go. Jordan Moore is ready. The whistle blows, and here is Moore's first kick, and that is off the post. Off the right post. Now a chance for Kansas. Number 6, Ethan Bowman. Jorge Trulio, the keeper for Chicago, against Ethan Bowman, midfielder for Kansas. Bowman ready. And Bowman gets it past. Now Chicago. Number 21, Ian Larson. Ian Larson stepping up. Larson already has 1 goal in these championships. And now Ian Larson's chance. And Larson gets it past. Time now for Kansas. Number 15, Cole Nelson. Kansas has 1 goal. Chicago with 1 goal, but Kansas can take the lead here with this penalty kick. Cole Nelson. And a kick save by Trulio. So we are tied at 1 after 2 tries from both sides. Now for Chicago, Nathaniel Michaelis. Michaelis also has scored 1 goal in these tournaments. By the way, Ethan Bowman, who connected for Kansas on the first tries, had 3 goals in these championships heading into today. Here's Michaelis. And Michaelis gets a goal. Now Chicago with the advantage. Kansas will give it to Jake DeJulio. DeJulio looking to tie this one up. This is the end of round 3. Chicago with a 2-1 lead. And that one is good. So we're tied again at 2. 2 more rounds left. Blake Van Bruggen stepping up for Chicago. Van Bruggen, coming into today, was the team leader in goals in these championships. He had 2 goals. And now Van Bruggen versus Glass. Blocked. Kansas with a chance to take the advantage. Tony Mock stepping up. Mock scored the goal earlier for Kansas, which tied it up in the 19th minute. His first goal of these championships. And now Mock with a chance to give Kansas the advantage. We are tied at 2, and this is the end of the 4th round of penalty kicks. This is Trulio. Mock is blocked. And we're still tied at 2. It's down to the final round of penalty kicks. For Chicago, it's number 32, John Nystrom. Oh, wait a minute, it looks like Mock gets another chance. It looks like Mock is getting another chance. I believe the keeper moved early on that penalty kick, so Mock gets to try it again. Again, this for the advantage for Kansas. And Mock boots it through, which means that if Nystrom misses, then Kansas comes away with the win. So Mock good on the second chance, and now Nystrom. The season could hinge on this. Nystrom must convert for Chicago to have a chance. Nystrom is stopped, and Kansas comes away with the Region 2 championship. Final score 2-1 as Kansas wins. Bowman, DeJulio, and Mock all scoring penalty kicks. And Kansas moves on to play in the national championships in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tony Mock ends up scoring 2 goals and ends up getting the game winner as Kansas moves on. So congratulations to the Kansas Rush Academy Blue as